Stellar blockchain to power Turbo Energy's tokenized clean energy financing initiative. The solar energy storage firm has tapped Stellar and Taurus to tokenize debt to finance hybrid solar projects, starting with a pilot in Spain. Spain got a lot of sun, beautiful country. Tokenizing debt is definitely something we're gonna hear a lot more about in the future, so make sure y'all pay attention to what that means. Here we go. Turbo Energy taps the Stellar network and Taurus to tokenize debt for a hybrid solar project, starting with the pilot in Spain. And you know, a lot of debt is like corporate bonds, right? Selling pieces of your company, and then people are, you know, selling that back and forth, and they're essentially raising funds rather than selling shares for the most part. The initiative explores blockchain-based financing to broaden access to renewable energy investment. The solar storage turbo is turning to blockchain clean energy using the Stellar network, the firm said. The NASDAQ listed firm announced a new initiative, so they're just repeating that. So let's get to the meat of this real quick. The effort begins with a pilot project at a supermarket in Spain, the firm says. The move reflects growing interest in applying blockchain rails to real-world assets. Proponents say tokenized financing could lower friction in energy investments by removing intermediaries and offering automated, transparent oversight. Okay. At the core of Turbo Energy's project, we're reading right here, is the tokenization of debt used to finance power purchase agreements for on-site solar plus battery systems. The debt will be issued and managed using Taurus's tokenization platform and recorded on the Stellar blockchain. The tokens will represent fractional shares of project financing, allowing multiple parties to invest in clean energy infrastructure at lower costs. So a power purchase agreement, when you're dealing with solar, you can have a financing agreement, a purchase agreement. Either way, it's like making kind of payments, a payment plan for this renewable energy technology, which ultimately that power that it generates could be sold to homeowners, sold to corporations, and sold to businesses. So if someone wants to get in on this deal, you can be like, hey, I got 20 grand. I want to purchase some of this debt and then get paid back in the future with interest. And then y'all handle everything that has to do with the solar. Y'all make sure everything is facilitated. And then Stellar hops in and say, hey, we can do this smoother, faster, and cheaper and more transparent on the blockchain. So very interesting. And then it says the model mirrors a trend known as energy as a service, where companies provide solar and storage systems under service contracts instead of upfront purchases. The market is valued at 74.4 billion in 2024 and is projected to nearly double by 2030. So just like other solar deals, right? They set it all up, they fund it, and when maintenance needs to happen, that's all part of the contract. You as the debt buyer just buys in, collect the money, basically. So that one's interesting. And here we go. 38 billion moved across chain last month. 800 million moved for under $1 in fees. This is a interview with Layer Zero, and they're talking about a whole bunch of topics. We're going to kind of break it all down. How Layer Zero is solving blockchain interoperability and what our integration means for seamless asset movement on Stellar. So Stellar pushing. So they talk about the birth of Layer Zero, if you know anything about that. Early crypto days, understanding Layer Zero's technology, problem with wrap assets. There has been a lot of problems, duplicate assets and whatnot. The future of omni chains. Unified supply model, fundamental shift. Then they talk about the business model, permissionless and immutable blockchain. And then zero slippage transfers, revolutionizing value movement, the patience and vision behind blockchain interoperability. And essentially, so the CEO of the Stellar Foundation has been doing a lot more of these type of talks and discussing in depth about these partnerships. And throughout crypto, you know, you got chain links, you got wormholes, you got Axlar, Layer Zero now. These are blockchains that are helping it facilitate native token transfers, because if you're using, let's say, USDC on Stellar and you want to flip it over to Ethereum, you need that to happen without getting your token lost somewhere in some bridge. That has happened to me. That has happened to many of y'all if y'all been out here. So that's what they're essentially talking about in this interview.
Passive income, gold in my dental, thank God for my mental. Investor fundamentals, told my girl it was simple.